Thank you for joining us, and we're welcome to the second evening of the Mental Health Talk series being hosted by Vacationspars and Cape Coast Open. This is in memory of Godfred, our brother who tragically passed away over the weekend. And that made me reach out to experts in the field who would want to share insights on what we can do to protect our mental health and how we can do that and all the help we might need. So tonight we have with us Michael. Michael is a senior associate at JP Morgan Chase, and he's also the app developer, and he's also a software engineer for this app called Lumamite. He will tell us all about it, and he will tell us all about his experiences in the mental health journey. So thank you for agreeing to do this, Michael. You're welcome.
Thank you too. All right, thank you. Hi. As Nana said, my name is Michael. I'm the founder of Lumamite app and also senior associate at JP Morgan Chase. And I think I chanced on the tweet about your colleague, Godfred, which was kind of like a tragic post seeing that because it's been a trend that's been going on over the years. Myself, I've had my own experiences with depression and overcoming it, the struggles that you face. So seeing it, Nana reached out, and today I'm here to talk about how us at Lumamite are trying to use technology to help assist people go through their mental health struggles. So I think I made a little slide here. Let me just share my screen, and that will help me go through the entire mental health talk here. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. It's asking me to allow some. Okay. Okay, let me share it again. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes. Looks great.
Okay, awesome. So yes, talking about mental health, I did this little slide to help me be able to go through the entire talk that we have here today and also be able to introduce my mobile app that I'm working on for mental health called Lumamite. So here we have the silent crisis. I'm going to talk about some of the things that, happen on the daily that mostly we ignore or have no way of seeing. For example, this slide here is talking about we are more connected, yet more mentally exhausted. And this has to do with technology as we have it today. We have social media, we are more of consumers, and then we have those that create the content. And it happens both ways. What are some of the points that we have here is 1 in 5 adults experience mental health challenges annually. And you and I can attest to the fact that over the years, we keep seeing this. This person has committed suicide. This person was going through this and they committed suicide. This person has done this to themselves. Due to the fact that I believe number one has to do with how we are brought up in our culture. Mostly people are ridiculed, when they express how they feel, when they express their emotions. So I believe one of the ways that we've been able to cope growing up is being able to bottle our feelings and walking it off, which in actual sense or scientifically is very unhealthy. So 1 in 5 adults experience mental health challenges annually, and we know that for a fact. Now, digital overstimulation is increasing anxiety and not reducing it. Now, digital overstimulation has a lot to do with how we go through our mental processes today. Examples are how the kids lately are being addicted to technology. So for example, I don't know if you've come across certain videos on social media or even in real life where a kid is more hooked on their tablet, watching YouTube videos, cartoons, and all of that. And the moment the parent takes the video or the tablet away from them, they literally have a mental breakdown. They throw a fit just because they are being disconnected with what feels more like a comfort zone. Right. So that is what digital overstimulation does. It increases anxiety in the kids. It's like they are disconnected from reality. Now, coming to adults, You might not know it, but you might be also hooked on your phone. If you lose your phone today, you see the way you feel. You feel like a big part of you is lost. It's because of how we've been consuming digital, let's say, assets, as I'll call it, and we've termed it as normal. Reason being that in reality, we are not interacting a lot with people in the physical. Mostly has been social media. You are either retweeting and making your comment, or you are either liking the post, making funny comments, laughing, and moving on. We have disconnected from the physical interactions and have become more used to the digital interactions. The funny thing about the digital interaction is, apart from anything that has to do with like video calls or video conferencing or whatever it is, where you see the other person, like what I'm doing today, where you can see me talking and you can see my expressions. When it comes to the digital aspect of communication, where we stick more to messaging, tweeting, replying to tweets and all of that, you do not see the expressions of the human being you are communicating with. So if I wake up in the morning and I text you, hey, good morning, how are you? And you are going through the worst morning and you text back, oh, I'm doing great. I will take it and assume you are doing fine for real. But in reality, if you were standing in front of me and I asked you the same questions, yes, you might be able to tell me you are doing great, but your expressions will communicate something different with me. That will change the trajectory of the entire conversation. Where I'll ask you, is everything okay? You're telling me you look great, but your entire demeanor doesn't show that way. If I send you a normal text, I don't see how your expressions. You tell me you're doing great. The conversation goes a different way, where I communicate with you thinking you are having a good day. So the statement, we are more connected yet more mentally exhausted, has to do with a vast number of things, which includes us being disconnected when it comes to communication. Yes, communication has become very easy to do, but there's a big disconnect, a big gap in there where we are missing a very big aspect of it, which is being able to see expressions of the persons you are communicating with. Now, we all know body language is also another form of communication. So those aspects, especially body language, is what caps up and helps it to be a full communication experience. The final statement here says the people don't lack awareness. They lack safe, accessible support in the moment. Yes, we are all aware of mental health. Some of us might be going through struggles with our mental health, but it's not that we are not aware. We are very much aware. Are you feeling safe opening up to people? Especially on social media, seeing people having conversations and then boom, the next minute, screenshots. It's everywhere because you had a down moment with the person. This will actually contribute a lot with people not feeling safe communicating how they are feeling. It's really scary now in this present times to actually communicate how you're feeling, because when you have a down moment, your entire feelings that you did in a moment of downtime will be out there. That will be used to ridicule you. It's scary. And it says people don't lack awareness. They lack safe, accessible support in the moment. We don't have support in the moment. Like I said, opening up to someone one now is a very risky thing to do. And trying to even access certain, tools available to us, like, going to therapy and all of that, also is expensive, and it's not going to happen in the moment. You have to pick up your phone, set up an appointment. You have to move from your home, get there. Like, it's a whole process before you actually get the help that you need, right? So we are trying to find ways and means that we can use technology as it is, or at the point that it has gotten to help with mental health, which includes making, support very accessible and in the moment. And the final one says the mental health struggles are no longer episodic; they are constant and ambient. Like I said, we've made certain things as norm, where anxiety is up because of the consumption of social media content. So it used to be where people go through episodic moments in their mental health struggle, and now you open your phone, boom, you see something, it triggers you, and boom, you're going through your face again. So it's no longer episodic. It just happens as life goes. It happens daily, which is very risky, and which is one of the reasons why mental health struggles have become high in our recent times. Now, the real problem nobody talks about. No, people don't know what they are feeling or what to do about it. That is a very important aspect. The thing is, sometimes you feel something, but expressing it is a little challenging, right? It says the key point is emotional awareness is low. Alexithymia trends are rising. That is the ability to identify what you are feeling or to be able to explain what you are going through, right? So journaling is powerful, but hard to sustain alone. And therapy is effective, but expensive, delayed, or inaccessible. So it says the gap isn't tools, it's guided emotional clarity in real time, right? So now that we are talking about people expressing their feelings, like I mentioned earlier, it's a risky thing to do. Even if somebody wants to be open in the moment, they are always thinking twice about it. They are trying to express it, but they are trying to hold a whole lot of aspect of the expressions back because either they don't want to look like they are weak, or when things go south and let's say their screenshots are out there, they'll be able to defend themselves. The thing is, you cannot confide in people lately because everybody's trying to get likes on social media. Everybody's trying to trend, and all of that. So it's really risky. And we've seen a lot of situations where people's private conversations and private things are out there because somebody is trying to, be part of a trend or be popular or whatever reason why they are doing that. It's really risky out there. So the gap isn't tools, it's guided emotional clarity in real time. I know there are a lot of mental health apps out there, but my experience is some of them are very overcrowded. It's like when you land in there, you don't know exactly what to do. And sometimes the main reason why you went in there, you get distracted because you saw something that caught your attention and then you end up exploring that instead of actually going in there for the purpose at which you opened it. Now, I'm going through this and then I'll finally talk about LumaMind and how LumaMind is going to help once it is out there. So why we build LumaMind? Now, from a personal struggle to scalable support, like I mentioned earlier in my introduction, I have gone through mental health struggles myself, which specifically has to do with depression. I am a alumni of Accra Academy, and I went to Methodist University, Ghana. Through these two phases of my life, I went through a lot of depression. And I know a lot of people go to deal with academics, having to perform well, having to make your family proud at the same time, having to go through your personal struggles that people don't understand. When I was going through depression, my mom didn't understand what I was going through. And I didn't blame her. Mostly has to do with our culture and how some of our parents were brought up. Okay. She didn't understand what I was going through. She thought I was having an attitude with her. But meanwhile, I was going through struggles because I'm the type where I have vision and I always want to kind of like push to achieve the things that I want to achieve. Right. And I know they always say mental health or depression or mental health struggles has to do with a lot of people with a lot of high intelligence, right? Which is mostly true because if you are in a situation and you are able to determine how, if things go south, your life is going to be, or how if things go up, your life is going to be, is really depressing. You are able to determine, but you don't know which path you are leaning towards because your life is maybe stagnant or you do not have the resources at the moment. Life is very unpredictable. And yes, we wish we do have the power to determine, where our life will end up. But sometimes what we think in our head, when we are able to go through our struggles and are able to survive, life takes a different course, which is way better than what we pictured in our head. Happened to me. So I always encourage people who I see going through struggles, like, hang on, like, don't give up. You never know what's coming. You think you figured it out in your mind, but just wait and see. Right. So let's get back to talking about LumaMind. So the key point here is people don't open apps when they are overwhelmed. They shut down, which is very true. When you are going through something and let's say you see or go through an experience that triggers your depression, I don't think the first thing that will hit you is to open a mobile app, honestly. You would actually shut down, put your phone away, and you will use your brain to try and process what you are going through, try and find a solution. That is mostly the natural human way. Try and see if you can find a solution, who can be of help, who you can reach out to, right? But talking about mobile apps, Lumomine is a mobile app, and we've made it in such a way that it could be the first step you take even before you reach out to anybody. So traditional wellness tools require effort when energy is lowest. Like I mentioned earlier, you open some of the mental health apps that you know, it's overwhelming. There's a lot of features in there, and you might even get distracted and not be able to go through the process of you actually taking the first step of fixing whatever problem that you're going through, right? You needed something that meets people where they are instantly. Like I mentioned, yes, when you shut down, you don't open mobile apps, but we are trying to make it in such a way that when you are going through certain experiences, one of the first things you'd be like, oh, there's this tool. Let me just open it.
See, that's yogurt.
I saw
Let me
it.
just open it and express myself. Now, Lumomine was built to be immediate, non-judgmental, always available, and emotionally intelligent. Okay, so why expressing emotions changes the brain? So key points is journaling reduces activity in the amygdala stress center. The amygdala is, I made a definition here. So it is the prefrontal, it's part of the prefrontal cortex where regulation goes through, or regulating your thoughts and actions and emotions like happens, right? So journaling helps, activate that aspect of your brain. And Lumomine is trying to use the aspect of journaling to help you be able to, express yourself. And mostly Lumomine has to do with voice journaling. Now, naming emotions increases prefrontal cortex regulation. Like I mentioned, as you are talking about what you're going through, as you are identifying what you're going through, you are activating, a part of your brain that will help reduce your stress as you are talking about what you are going through. Voice expression activates deeper emotional processing than typing. So expression is not just therapeutic, it's neurologically regulating. Like I said, as you talk about your problems, there's a part of your brain that is activated that helps you reduce the stress as you go through the talking process, right? So talking about Lumomine, your emotional intelligence companion. So as a Lumomine, we are trying to use the current technologies that we have, right, to help with mental health struggles, to help it be like your first response when you are going through something. As you can see on the image on the right, you can see that it's a very simple interface where when you go in, the first question you ask is, how are you feeling? And once you tap on, a feeling that once you're able to like categorize your feeling and you tap on it, we have what we call like ambient sounds that helps you start relaxing. So the moment you tap on an expression, how you're feeling, you automatically have this ambient sound. It starts playing as you are going through the process. The moment you start listening to the music, it starts to reduce your stress because your brain gets activated in that aspect. So what Lumomine does is voice journaling. We have a feature in there. Like I said, when you tap on the expression, you get this microphone that pops up and you are able to tap on it, express your feelings. Like I said, the science is if you start talking about your emotions or what you're going through, you activate a certain aspect of your brain and your stress starts to reduce. I think starting at that point really helps you go a long way. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you talk about how you feel, then the stress starts to reduce. And once the stress starts to reduce, you get to have a more clearer brain instead of a clouded brain, and you start to make right decisions. So some of the features that we have in Lumomine is voice journaling. So it's low effort and high honesty. We've made it in such a way that you have everything in the privacy of your phone, which means you are confident enough to talk about what you're going through, right? We have what we call the AI reflection. So once you are done recording your emotions or what you are going through. The AI listens, processes what you're talking about, and gives you positive feedback and encourages you as you are done with the recording. It encourages you. So these two aspects: number one, categorizing your emotion, what you are feeling at the moment. Number two, talking about what you are going through. And number three, receiving a positive feedback. These things happen the moment you land on the mobile app, and these aspects help reduce your stress level and clear your head, so you are able to make good decisions on the get-go. Now, I have another feature in there called the common exercises and sounds. So let's say you get triggered and you're going through something at the moment. We have selected sounds or common exercises in there that you can refer to as soon as possible and listen to help you calm down in the moment, right? Sometimes you might be somewhere in public where you can actually express your emotions. We have a feature where you can type what you're going through, but I mainly prefer you talking. That feature is there because of accessibility, to help make that app be available to anybody at all. Anybody with whatever disability will be able to use this app as well. And the final and the most important feature in there is the image you're seeing on the left. Is what I call Luma. It's a conversational emotional support. So I programmed an AI to help with conversational, process. So what this does is, it's like you are on a phone call talking to a friend, right? And this AI is trained in such a way that it listens to your tone, and per how you are talking to it also directs the conversation accordingly. What it does is it asks you questions. As you tell them, you tell Luma you are going through this, you're going through that. It keeps it understands you, lets you know it understands what you're going through. Then the follow-up is that it asks you questions. Reason why we made it this way is that as we ask you questions and you answer your own questions, the truth is most times you have answers to your own problems, honestly. But because it happens in the moment and your brain or your mind is clouded, you might think you don't have the solution. So this mobile app is going to be like the gap. It's going to fill the gap where you think, first off, let me call someone first, or first off, let me see if I can find a solution myself. It closes that gap where it gives you a breathing room for you to get your emotions to calm, and then you are able to understand, certain things that you are going through, and be able to answer certain questions yourself before you make certain decisions. Sometimes, because of our emotions, we end up making decisions and later regret making those decisions. So if there's something to help you pause and really make you understand what you are going through as you answer your own questions or pour out your own emotions, it will help you be like, okay, I don't need to make this decision. This decision was really dumb, and here I was going to make this decision. And I'm really saddened by what happened to Godfred, right? But I believe that even though he did some form of journaling, right? If, let's say, he had gotten a feedback, you see, the beauty about it is he understood the fact that he needs to put down what he's going through. But the problem here is that nobody knows what you're going through. So he never got any feedback. That is the problem here. That is the big gap. You can write down what you're going through, but if nobody knows what you're going through, you will not get any response. And not getting any response makes you understand, or makes you feel like you are in a deeper hole alone. Your emotions on a paper, and no one understanding what you're going through. It will make you feel like you are in a deeper pit all alone. And it's so unfortunate that he had to end up making the decision that he made. And I just wish, something like this was already out there to help him. But hopefully very soon we'll have something like this out there where people will pause. It will give people the opportunity to pause before they end up making a certain decision. So what LumaMind does is that once you are recording your emotions, it actually puts it down in the text form, with your audio attached to it and the AI reflection, that's the feedback that the AI gave you, also attached, and you have records of it for as long as you want. The beautiful thing about this is that it's private on your phone. It's not kept anywhere. It's for you and you alone. So that will help you even be more confident to talk about what you're going through. The only time anything on LumaMind is going to get exposed if you put your phone out or give it to somebody for them to go through your LumaMind. If you do not make that mistake, every emotional journaling that you're making is going to be stored there. I believe in understanding your emotions over time, and that helps you make decisions, right? You go through certain emotions and you have records of them like, oh, at this point, I went through this. I wanted to make this decision. That would have been bad. Or at this point, I went through this. I went through that. How did I overcome it? That helps you grow mentally when you get to understand your emotions over time. And that is what LumaMind is planning to achieve. Now, the moment everything starts to change. So here I'll put some key points down. It says most people don't need advice first. They need release. Like I said, the moment you start talking about what you're going through, your brain, a certain part of your brain activates that reduces the stress that you're going through. The hardest part is not solving emotions. It's starting to express them. Yes, it's a very important aspect. If you're going through something you don't talk to anybody about or you don't even talk about it, then it starts to build up, then stress, anxiety, then it will lead to something else or it will lead to make you make certain decisions. Now, LumaMind removes that friction in one action, talk. So healing doesn't start with solution, it starts with expression. So all that I've talked about is express what you're going through. But if you are scared to talk to somebody, then this platform will listen, will give you the response that you need. It will help you take the pause that you need to reassess the decisions that you want to make before you make them. So the whole aim is to move from chaos to clarity. So expected outcome is to increase emotional awareness, reduce stress and anxiety, improve decision making, consistent self-reflection habits, increase engagement through guided reflection, and users returning for emotional clarity, not just tracking. So all that I've said is once LumaMind is and you start to journal, guess what happens? What happens is you now have a habit of actually talking about your emotions. So instead of keeping them in and it piling up and becoming a weight on you, now you have the habit of now being able to be confident to talk about your emotions and what you're going through, and also have access to certain tools that can help you reduce your stress or reduce the emotions you're going through in the moment. So this is the main aim that LumaMind wants to achieve. Close that gap, be that pause that you need. Once you get the habit of doing this, now you get to understand your emotions. You are not afraid to talk about your emotions. And in the long run, this even helps when you finally are able to get into therapy, where you are able to share your emotions with whoever is your therapist, because you've already had the habit of being able to talk about your emotions. So the bigger vision for LumaMind, chaos to clarity, so make emotional support as accessible as opening your phone. Like I said, even though, yes, when something happens to people, they shut down and don't open your phone, you want them to be confident in having a mobile app that is ready to take what they have and give them the response that they need. So normalize talking about mental health daily. You get the habits to be able to talk about your mental health. So as you practice or as you keep on talking about your mental health, once it becomes a habit, now you get the confidence to be able to talk about your mental health without being afraid, or to whoever is professional and ready to listen and guide you. Now you build a system where reflection becomes a habit and not a crisis response. Now you get to understand, okay, since I started talking about my emotions, now it's not weighing down on me. So now it becomes a habit where if you're going through something, you want to talk about it, get some response, get some reflection, then you sit back, also go through your emotions and be able to make right decisions. So let's just say building a system where reflection becomes a habit, not a crisis response. Once it becomes a habit, it means we've reduced the load of you actually making a bad decision that might be life-threatening or, might cause you some harm in any way. So one thing I'm talking about, LumaMind is currently in a beta. So if you want to join LumaMind, you can, if you want to join go to lumamind.com, join beta, you fill a form, and you will receive an email, with instructions on how to join the LumaMind beta. So in beta, you have access to all the features for free. You can test them. You can give me feedback on the website. You can go back and give feedback once you have access to LumaMind. You can test all the features that you have in there. And if you have any suggestions as well, I'm always open to suggestion. Everybody has great suggestions because every single person has different experiences in life. So I might think I'm capturing certain aspects, which is going to help, but maybe your suggestion can be a bigger part of LumaMind. Also support each other. If you know anyone that you think would need the app LumaMind, because maybe this person likes bottling their feelings, they don't like expressing themselves, you can share LumaMind with them. They can join the beta and test it out. I'm sure they're going to love it. I'm sure they're going to be happy to have something as such. And in the long run, we end up helping each other when it comes to mental health, supporting each other and holding each other's hand. Just provide this tool to a friend, and it will become the pause they need to reassess their decisions and reassess their emotions. Yes, so my name is Michael Asufi. This is the end of my little mental health talk and how LumaMind is trying to use technology to help with mental health struggles. Thank you. I'm now open to any questions that anybody has.
Thank you so much, Michael, for that presentation. I believe it was very insightful for everybody on the call. And I must say, I did like your use of Figma for your slides. It was pretty cool. It's kind of different from Canva and PowerPoint. It was great.
Yeah.
So I do have some questions by myself listening to your presentation, but hi everyone. If you have questions relating to Michael's presentation, you can just put your hand up with the react button, and then Michael would call you after I'm done asking mine, or you could just put that in the chat space and then we could look at it, read it out. Mike would call you. You could also make that verbally known. What I wanted to know though, Mike, was that in an instance where somebody uses the app and they make conversations and the app detects that this person might need further support, are there any escalation pathways? Maybe with the app call Ghana's mental health hotline or something? Yeah, I didn't.
Yes. So we are still in development stage for that. What we are trying to do is not become very clinical. So when I say clinical, use more clinical terms where we are in the end acting as if we are actual psychologists or therapists, right? We are trying to be like a gateway for that to happen. So to get to your point, what we are trying to do is train the AI in such a way, yes, it detects certain keywords and be like, okay, this person needs support, and it's able to provide certain links or resources for the person. Now, the reason why we are doing LumaMind this way is to be able to, if the person has the habit of talking about their emotions, to be able to also have records of what they've been going through. And these records will be honest emotions. Now, in the bigger picture in our future features, what we are trying to do is introduce a therapist on board. So remember in our conversations, I talked to you about my friend who's a therapist. She's a psychologist. I'm partnering with her to bring her on board as LumaMind's official therapist, where instead of just providing links for the users, we can actually redirect them right on the app to a therapist that can assist them, right? At least start a first conversation. And if, they already have their own therapist, they can go there, forward. But what we want to achieve in there is that we will give the user also the ability to be able to, if they want to, share what they have recorded on the app with the therapist on board. And this is all to the discretion of the user. If they don't want to, they won't want to. So that is going to be one of our big future updates, is to be able to have a therapist on board, direct the user there per certain keywords, and then they have the ability to share anything that they want to share from the app to the therapist, and then the conversation starts from there. So yes.
Mm, that's sorry. I think that's great. I think that's great. Thank you. And yeah, I do remember you mentioned your
Yes.
friend. Yeah, Regina,
Yeah.
right? That was the name.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's the name.
that's interesting. We definitely look forward to maybe having her on another session later on.
Sure.
And so another thing came up real quick, right? Because when you started
Okay.
answering this question, you were like, you would train the AI to be able to engage and hold the conversations in a way that will be beneficial for the user. So that
Yes.
raises a question of um, model training. So
Yeah.
I think it's more about data concerns. Would
Hmm.
you, for each user, have the model train itself on the conversations it has with the user, or maybe every now and then you just roll out an update with the model train?
So because of data concerns, right, we do not want to store the conversations anywhere. Because if you have to train the model, it means you are storing the conversations. That will um, delete the aspect of us saying that the privacy is right on your phone. So what we are trying to do is that we are always researching, right? Like I said, I'm partnering with my friend psychologist to make sure that we have like a right script for the AI conversation tool where it will be able to understand certain aspects when it comes to the psychology aspects and having like therapy aspects and when it comes to certain conversations to be able to detect certain things. So for now, what it's doing is that it's feeding off of the instructions that we have given it, based off the knowledge that we have, instructions that we are giving it, and it's going with the conversation using that instruction, right? So currently, we are not storing the conversations anywhere because if you want to train the model, that means you have to store them, which in turn means that it can leak and people can actually hear your conversation. So to prevent that, we are not doing that. We are just using per findings, scientific findings, and all of that to actually create an instruction for the AI to be able to keep the conversation in that light. So
Great. Yes. Thank you for that reply. Because I was kind of a little bit concerned, right? Like how the training.
yeah,
Yeah. But this is great. This is very insightful.
thank you.
Hi everyone. If you do have a question, you can put your hand up. I do have lots of questions because like I was really interested in the Luma Mind app thingy. That's why I reached out to you.
Yeah,
But if you also have some, you can let me know.
sure.
My third question was about when you mentioned that from your own personal struggles that gave you the motivation to make this into a scalable solution. And one thing that was very interesting was that your mother did not understand you. This is interesting
Yeah,
because in the first session we had yesterday, the medical doctor did mention that in our cultural context, it's very often that the people around you, especially your parents, might
yep,
simply not understand you. So if that was
exactly.
your case too, then how does Luma Mind bridge that gap? Is it going to be trained with some non-Western or African experiences in the scripts, like you said?
So we haven't actually done that aspect of it. The main focus now is just to help people take break and understand the decisions that they want to make and be able to express their emotions. Now, to talk about yes, our culture aspect, it's quite unfortunate, but it's kind of like deep rooted. So with my mom, I had to at a point educate her on what I was going through and let her understand, listen, I like, maybe you were not brought up to understand certain things and all of that. Or our culture states, Bema and Soon and, all those things, right? So I educated her that sometimes at certain points in people's life, when we go through things, even her, when she goes through things at certain points and she feels this way and that way, it could be depression, it could be some form of mental struggle, right? That doesn't mean I won't blame her if she's having an attitude or anything. I won't say she's having an attitude. I'd rather encourage her to ask more questions instead of like deducing in her mind that you're doing this because of this. She should be able to ask more questions. And beautifully moving forward, when she ever sees that I was down or anything, she comes to my room. That was when I was in Ghana. She comes to my room and she will ask me, "Are you okay? What's happening? Like, is everything okay? Is work okay?" So it's kind of like helped her learn and understand certain aspects of our lives that were not made open to them as they were growing up. But to get to your point, yes, I think it will be beautiful to introduce something like that in there, kind of like an education or something, that can be shared even with our older parents for them to actually read and, understand certain aspects of life that was not fully exposed to them or they were not made to understand, you know, those aspects of life. Yeah.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you for that reply. I hope I do have the success you had with educating your mom. I go home every now and then, for New Year's, and I would be going home this Easter. And when you're
Yeah.
home, they would just get up in the morning at 6 and they go like, "Why are you not out here, gentlemen? It's past 6." And I have to go like, "Relax." So maybe I would have the same success like you and they would get to understand me
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, I pray so. I still do have more questions, but if
Sure.
anybody has another question, please note you can just put your hand up, and Mike would be more than happy to take your question. Mike, so in the world of AI right now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversation happening on Twitter, especially by the guys that own it.
Okay.
This open AI guy, what's his name again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sam Altman.
yeah, Sam Altman and Elon
Yeah.
Musk, they are
Yeah.
always talking about AGI and they go like, we're gonna get
Yes.
AGI first. So it's
Yes.
giving people an impression that if somebody works and builds an AI tool, it's going to be super powerful. But I
Mm.
think we know better, right? So I would just
Yep.
want to know if there are any clear limitations in what Lima Mind can and cannot do, especially cannot do, so that you could just
Okay.
clarify that for the people on the call.
Okay. So, like we had a conversation earlier talking about training the models and all of that. For AGI to be achieved, you have to train the models. The beautiful thing about using some of these platforms to create an app is they give you the option to opt out of training the model that you are using, which means that whatever information that the users share, they are not going to have a record of it. That is when the aspect of actually creating instructions for the model to stick to that instructions and work according to how you want it to work with your application or whatever it is. Talking about AGI, I believe you need to provide consent for people first. That if people want to opt in, then they opt in. Luma Mind is made in such a way that it's not training any AI model. Whatever information you are sharing in Luma Mind is and will be at the privacy of your phone. The only information that maybe you might share is your login information. That is when you're creating an account. And, even in Luma Mind, we have another feature in it that's a community feature. But even with that, we have the option where it's not even an option, it's a must. You have to be anonymous, right? So you need to create an anonymous name and you should be able to share, posts and all of that, maybe connect with other people and all of that. But even with that, we are heavily regulating it on the back end where we have a system in the back end. If any foul or any negative word is being posted by anybody, if it's flagged, then the person is banned. Also, we give the users the access or the feature to be able to report any posts that is going against the community guidelines. Before you even land there, we show you the community guidelines, which you have to agree to first before you're able to join in there. And you are also instructed to create an alias. You don't use your real name in there. So what LumaMind is trying to do is just create the confidence. You have the confidence that I can share my emotions here into a deeper level and no one will have access to it but myself unless I share with someone, right? So that's what we are trying to create. Be confident and share your emotions. We are not sharing your information anywhere. We are not sharing your data anywhere. Everything
Okay.
lays on your phone and stays on your phone.
Okay, that's great. Just like a
Yeah.
quick follow-up to this one. So the clarity I wanted to get though was that what can it, not in terms of the team, right, but in terms of the app itself. If people have a
So,
wild idea that maybe if I have conversations with the Luma Mind AI assistant, it would give me some prescriptions of things to go and
oh,
buy, like those kind of things. What are the
okay.
things
Okay.
it cannot do? Yeah, just to have a
Okay.
realistic limit.
Realistic. Okay. Luma Mind cannot prescribe certain things for you. It doesn't instruct you to go do certain things. What Luma Mind does is it asks you questions. So if you say, let's say, I'm feeling down, It'll ask you, so now that you're feeling down, what do you think is, leading to you feeling down today? And then you'll be like, okay, maybe I had a situation at work where I was supposed to present something and it didn't go well. So after that, my entire day was messed up. And it keeps asking you, so as you're feeling down right now due to that, what do you think, or what activities have you had in the past that can help you out? Do you want to have an activity on the Lumamind app, or do you think there are any activities that you can have that will help you take your mind off it? So once you start talking about some of the activities that you've done, then it will be like, okay, those sound great. So there are certain activities here, like it will suggest certain activities like the breathing exercises. So it's always sticking to the script and what's in the app. It doesn't go beyond to end up becoming your doctor, prescribing you or helping you make or telling you what to do. It only asks you questions. So as you answer those questions, you get to uncover certain things about what you are going through. As you keep answering, you get to understand, oh, okay. Oh, wow. So yeah, this is why I'm feeling this way. This is why I'm feeling overwhelmed, right? Like this app is letting me really take a break and understand why I'm going through this. And I just realized this isn't even a big deal, So that is what we are trying to achieve, not instructing you to make decisions, helping you uncover your own emotions by answering questions. And then you are able to make your own decisions per the answers that you're provided.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you for that clarity. Because I
Yeah.
think we had a debate at some tournament last year where there was a motion about whether people should use apps like these or not. And I think I was judging one of these debates and I was
Okay.
hearing arguments like, well, sometimes when you use these applications, they would prescribe drugs for you to regulate your hormones and your emotions. And people might use them because they don't have a lot of medical knowledge and it might negatively affect them. So those were the
Yeah.
concerns the teams against the motion were raising. So it's good to
Yeah.
know what Luma Mind's operational stance
Yeah.
is.
And even to add a little bit, with even tools like ChatGPT, it comes in its raw form where if you ask it questions, it's going to give you what it thinks is good for you, which means it's going to instruct you to doing things. We've had issues where people have committed suicide or committed crimes because, ChatGPT or some of these AI tools were giving them instructions. But one thing too about ChatGPT is it also gives you the options to actually go in and put in instructions on what you want the AI to do, either to stick to certain things or not, you know, prescribe certain things to you. And the AI will stick to that beautifully too. It allows us, if you're using the APIs of these tools as well, it gives you the option to cause the limitations of it. So it doesn't go beyond the scope of what you want it to be. So, yep, Luma Mind is not going to be prescribing drugs or anything to anybody. It's just going to ask questions and help you uncover your emotions.
Okay, fantastic. That's
Yeah,
good to know, definitely. Okay, great. So just knowing that you are in finance and business and you still took
yeah,
a personal initiative and a personal struggle to into a level such as this, right? Is there
yeah,
any relatability for most people on these calls? They are young professionals. Some of us are students. Some of them are, and they are juggling academic work and they are juggling early work
yeah,
life. They should not find that balance. So,
yeah,
to what extent does mental health concern them? Just in case they are thinking that, like you said, oh, it has to be for super smart people or people that are working highly
yeah,
stressful jobs.
yeah.
But there are a common denominator for everybody on this call.
Yes, exactly.
Just
Exactly. Yeah. So I was going through depression when I was in high school, when I was in college. The reality is the weight of life, the weight of life as we move forward, life happens in different ways. Unexpected things happen, things that we are not prepared for, right? And me going through some of the things that I went through, where sometimes I wish somebody could have just listened, you know, had a listening ear. Maybe to me, maybe the weight would have been lighter, you know, and how I felt many years later talking about it even made me feel lighter talking about what I went through back then. So the aspect of it of Luma Mind is that it starts early. You get a listening ear. Okay. you might not have the confidence at the moment to go talk to someone, which happened to me back then because I was scared to talk about my emotions. First off, I'm a man, and it's really looked in a certain light if you are talking about your emotions, like this dude is emotional, or people see you as something else, they categorize you in a certain way. So what I'm trying to achieve with Low Mind is per the experience that I went through, if I had a listening ear, maybe I'll be more confident to talk about my emotions in the shortest possible time instead of years later being able to be confident in myself. So Lomo Mind will help you start talking about your emotions. Start giving you feedback. You start talking to call Luma. It simulates a phone call conversation, which feels like you're talking to another human being. That's what it feels like. But it's not going to instruct you. It's going to just ask you questions. So in simulating that experiences, you kind of like have a similar experience like talking to another human being. And once that becomes a habit, it will just work automatically where you'll be confident to talk to another person about your emotions and you'll not be scared to talk about it because now it has become a habit and you're familiar with taking off the weight by expressing what you're going through.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you for those that closing remark. That's all from me, and I would say this has been an insightful session. And we at Vacationspars and Cape Coast Open, thank you for agreeing to do this. And we would be happy to join the beta testing program and officially when it releases. Maybe even we could partner up so you could be the official the official mental health
Yeah,
app for our tournaments, right? Because
sure.
when we debate
Yeah,
tournament, people get stressed and afterwards
yeah,
they break down, stuff happens. So I think
yeah,
we need this. We do need this in the debate space. We really
sure.
do. Okay. So if there are no questions from anybody, that would be the end of tonight's session. Mike joined us all the way from Ohio, USA. He took some time from some time over working with JP Morgan and he was like, okay, let me come do this. So he's a highly valued person. Tomorrow, we would be having a session with a clinical psychologist at Colombo Teaching Hospital. She has lots of years in the field. And tomorrow's on would be an afternoon session because of the tight schedule she is running. I would share the flyer with you guys and the link would follow. And this session has been recorded. It would be uploaded to the Vacationspars YouTube channel as well as the Cape Coast Open YouTube channel. And you can access it anywhere on our website too. And enjoy your night. And I would catch you tomorrow afternoon for session 3. And I really appreciate you guys coming out and let's honor Godfred's memory the best way that we can. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Bye.